The Kybalion, Chapter 4. The All. Under and back of the universe of time, space, and change is ever to be found substantial reality, the fundamental truth. The Kybalion. Substance means that which underlies all outward manifestations, the essence, the essential reality, the thing in itself, etc. Substantial means actually existing, being the essential element, being real, etc. Reality means the state of being real, true, enduring, valid, fixed, permanent, actual, etc. Under and behind all outward appearance or manifestations, there must always be a substantial reality. This is the law. Man, considering the universe of which he is a unit, sees nothing but change in matter, forces, and mental states. He sees that nothing really is, but that everything is becoming and changing. Nothing stands still. Still, everything is being born, growing, dying. The very instant a thing reaches its height, it begins to decline. The law of the rhythm is in constant operation. There is no reality, enduring, quality, fixation, or substantiality in anything. Nothing is permanent but change. He who sees all things evolving from other things and resolving into other things, constant action and reaction, inflow and outflow, building up and tearing down, creation and destruction, birth, growth, and death. Nothing endures but change. And if he is be a thinking man, he realizes that all of these changing things must be an outward appearance or manifestations of some underlying power, some substantial reality. All thinkers in all lands and all times have assumed the necessity for postulating the existence of the substantial reality. All philosophies worthy of the name have been based upon this thought. All men given to this substantial reality many names. Some have called it the term of deity under many titles. Others have called it the infinite and eternal energy. Others have tried to call it matter, but all have acknowledged its existence. It is self-evident and needs no argument. In these lessons, we have followed the example of some of the world's greatest thinkers, both ancient and modern, the Hermetic masters, and have called the underlying power, this substantial reality, by the Hermetic name of the All, which term we consider that most comprehensive of all many terms applied by man to that which transcends names and terms. We accept and teach the view of the great Hermetic thinkers of all times, as well as of those illumined souls who have reached higher planes of being, both of whom assert that the inner nature of the All is unknowable. They regard all the theories, guesses, and speculations of the theologians and metaphysicians regarding the inner nature of the All as but childish efforts of mortal man to grasp the secret of the infinite. Such efforts have always failed and will always fail from the very nature of the task. One pursuing such inquiries travels around and around in a labyrinth of thought until he is lost to all sane reasoning, action, or conduct and is utterly unfitted for the work of life. He is like a squirrel which frantically runs around and around, circling treadmill with the wheel of this cage, traveling ever and yet ever nowhere, and in the end a prisoner still, and standing where he just started. And still more presumptuous are those who attempt to ascribe the All, the personalities, qualities, properties, characteristics, and attributes of themselves, ascribing to the All the human emotions, feelings, and characteristics, even down to the pettiest qualities of mankind, such as jealousy, susceptibility to flattery and praise, desire for offerings and worship, and all the other survivals from the days of the childhood of the race. Such ideas are now worthy of grown men and women, and are rapidly being discarded. At this point, it may be proper for me to state that we make a distinction between religion and theology, between philosophy and metaphysics. Religion to us means the institutional realization of the existence of the All, and one's relationship to it, while theology means the attempts of men to ascribe personalities, qualities, and characteristics to it. Their theories regarding an affair's wills, desires, plans, and designs and assumptions of the office of middlemen between the all and people. Philosophy to us means the inquiry after knowledge of things knowable and thinkable, while metaphysics means the attempt to carry the inquiry over and beyond the boundary of into regions unknowable and unthinkable, and with the same tendency as that of theology. And consequently, both religion and philosophy mean to us things having roots in reality, while theology and metaphysics seems like broken reeds rooted in the quicksands of ignorance, and affording naught but the most insecure support of the mind of or soul of man. We do not insist upon our students accepting these definitions. We mention them merely to show you our position. At any rate, you shall hear very little about theology or metaphysics in this lesson. But while the essential nature of the all is unknowable, there are certain truths connected with his existence which the human mind finds itself compelled to accept. And an examination of these reports form a proper subject of inquiry, particularly as they agree with the reports of the illumined and higher planes. And to this inquiry we now invite you. That which is fundamental truth, the substantial reality, is beyond true naming, but the wise men call it the all, the Kybalion. In its essence, the all is unknowable, the Kybalion. But the reports of reason must be hospitably received and treated with respect. The Kybalion. The human reasons whose report we accept, so long as we think at all, informs us as follows regarding the all, and that without attempting to remove the veil of the unknowable. The all must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside of the all, else the all would not be the all. 2. The all must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict the all. It must be infinite in time, or eternal, and must have always continuously existed, for there is nothing else to have created, and nothing can never evolve from nothing. And if it had ever not been, even for a moment, it would not be now. It must continuously exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and nothing it can never not be, even for a moment, because something can never become nothing. It must be infinite in space. It must be everywhere, for there is no place outside the all. It cannot be otherwise than continuous in space without break, cessation, separation, or interruption, for there is nothing to break, separate, or interrupt its continuity, and nothing with which to fill its gaps. It must be infinite in power, or absolute, for there is nothing to limit, restrict, restrain, confine, disturb, or condition it. It is subject to no other power. It is subject to no other power, for there is no other power. The all must be immutable, or not subject to change in its real nature, for there is nothing to work changes upon it, nothing in which it could change, nor from which it could have changed. It cannot be added to, nor subtracted from, increased, nor diminished, nor become greater or lesser in any respect whatsoever. It must have always been, and must always remain, just what it is now, the all. There has never been, is not now, or never will be anything else into which it can change. The all being infinite, absolute, eternal, and unchangeable, it must befall that anything finite, changeable, fleeting, and conditioned cannot be the all. And as there is nothing outside the all in reality, then any and all such finite things must be as nothing in reality. Now do not become befogged nor frightened. We are not trying to lead you into the Christian Science field under the cover of Hermetic philosophy. There is a reconciliation of this apparent contradiction state of affairs. Be patient. We will reach it in time. We see around us that which is called matter, which forms the physical foundation of all forms. Is the all really matter? Not at all. Matter cannot manifest life or mind. And as life and mind are manifested in the universe, the all cannot be matter. For nothing rises higher than its own source. Nothing is ever manifested in an effect that is not in the cause. Nothing is ever evolved as a consequence that is not involved as an antecedent. And the modern science informs us there is really no such thing as matter. That what we call matter is merely interrupted energy or force. That is, energy or force at a low rate of vibration. As a recent writer has said, matter has melted into mystery. Even material science has abandoned the theory of matter and now rests on the basis of energy. Then is the all mere energy or force? Not energy or force as materialists use the terms. Further, energy and force are blind, mechanical things devoid of life and mind. Life and mind can never evolve from blind energy or force. For the reason given a moment ago, nothing can rise higher than its source. Nothing is evolved unless it's involved. Nothing manifests in the effect unless it is in the cause. And so the all cannot be merely energy or force, for if it were, then there would be no such thing as life and mind in existence. And we know better than that, for we are alive and we are using mind to consider this very question. So are those who claim that energy or force is everything. What is there then higher than matter and energy that we know to be existent in the universe? Life and mind. Life and mind in all the varying degrees of unfoldment. Then you ask, do you mean to tell us that the all is life and mind? Yes and no is our answer. If you mean life and mind as we poor petty mortals know them, we say no. The all is not that. But what kind of life and mind do you mean, you ask? The answer is living mind, as far above that which mortals know by the words as life and mind are higher than mechanical forces or matter. Infinite living mind, as compared to finite life and mind. We mean that which the illumined souls mean when they reverently pronounce the word spirit. The all is infinite living mind. The illumined call it spirit. Chapter 5. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. The Kybalion. The all is spirit. But what is spirit? This question cannot be answered for the reason that its definition is paradoxical. This question cannot be answered for the reason that its definition is practically that of the all, which cannot be explained or defined. Spirit is simply a name that men give to the highest conception of infinite living mind. It means the real essence. It means living mind. As much superior to life and mind as we know them, as the latter are superior to mechanical energy and mind. Spirit transcends our understanding, and we use the term merely that we may think or speak of the all. For the purposes of thought and understanding, we are justified in thinking of spirit as infinite living mind. At the same time acknowledging that we cannot fully understand it, we must either do this or stop thinking about the matter at all. Let us now proceed to the consideration of the nature of the universe, as a whole and in its parts. What is the universe? We have seen that there can be nothing outside the all. Then is the universe the all? No, this cannot be, because the universe seems to be made up of many and is constantly changing. And in other ways, it does not measure up to the ideas that we are compelled to accept regarding the all, as stated in our last lesson. Then, if the universe be not the all, then it must be nothing. Such is the inevitable conclusion of the mind at first thought. But this will not satisfy the question, for we are sensible of the existence of the universe. Then, if the universe is neither the all nor nothing, what can it be? Let us examine the question. If the universe exists at all, or seems to exist, it must proceed from some way from the all. It must proceed in some way from the all. It must be a creation of the all. But as something can never be created from nothing, from what could the all have created it? Some philosophers have answered this question by saying the all created the universe from itself. That is, from the being and substance of the all. But this will not do, for the all cannot be subtracted from nor divided, as we have seen. And then again, if this be so, would not each particle in the universe be aware of its being the all? The all could not lose its knowledge of itself, nor actually become an atom, or blind force, or lowly living thing. Some men indeed, realizing that the all is indeed all, and also recognizing that they, the men existing, have jumped to the conclusion that they and the all are identical, and they have filled the air with shouts of "I am God," to the amusement of the multitude and the sorrow of sages. The claim of the corpuscle that "I am man" would be modest in comparison. But what indeed is the universe, if it be not the all, not yet created by the all having separated itself into fragments? What else can it be? Of what else can it be made? This is the great question. Let us examine it carefully. We find here that the principal correspondence, see lesson 1, come to our aid here. The old Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, may be pressed into service at this point. Let us endeavor to a glimpse of our workings on our higher planes of examining those of our own. The principle of correspondence must apply to this as well as to other problems. Let us see, on this own plane of being, on his own plane of being, how does man create? Well, first, he may create by making something out of outside materials. But this will not do, for there is no material outside the all with which it may create. Well then, secondly, man procreates, or produces his kind by process of begetting, which is self-multiplication accomplished by transferring a portion of a substance to his offspring. But this will not do, because the all cannot transfer or subtract a portion of itself, nor can it reproduce or multiply itself. In the first place, there will be a taking away, and in the second case, a multiplication or addition to the all, both thoughts being an absurdity. Is there no third way in which man creates? Yes, there is. He creates mentally, and in doing so he uses no outside materials, nor does he reproduce himself, and yet his spirit pervades the mental creation. Following the principle of correspondence, we are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally, in a matter akin to the process whereby man creates mental images. And here is where the report of reason tallies precisely with the report of the illumined. As shown by their teachings and writings, such are the teachings of wise men. Such are the teachings of Hermes. The all can create no other way except mentally, without either using materials, and there is none of these to use, or else reproducing itself, which is also impossible. There is no escape from conclusion of reason, which, as we have said, agrees with the highest teachings of the Illumined. Just as you, student, may create a universe of your own in your mentality, so does the all create universes in its own mentality. But our universe is a mental creation of the finite mind, whereas that of the all is the creation of the infinite. The two are similar in kind, but infinitely different in degree. We shall examine more closely into the process of creation and manifestation as we proceed. But this is the point to fix in our minds at this stage. The universe, and all of it contains, is the mental creation of the all. Verily indeed, all is mine. The all creates in its infinite mind countless universes which exist for eons of a time, and yet to the all, the creation, development, and decline and death of a million universes is but the twinkling of an eye. The Kybalion. The infinite mind of the all is the womb of universes. The Kybalion. The principle of gender, see lesson 1, and other lessons to follow, is manifested on all planes of life, material, mental, and spiritual. But, as we have said before, gender does not mean sex. Sex is merely a material manifestation of gender. Gender means relating to, generation, or creation. And whenever anything is generated or created on any plane, the principle of gender must be manifested. And this is true even if the creation of universes. Now do not jump to the conclusion that we are teaching that there is a male and female God or creator. The idea is merely a distortion of the ancient teachings of the subject. The true teaching is that the all in itself is above gender, and it is above every other law, including those of time and space. It is a law from which the laws proceed, and it is not subject to them. But when the all manifests on the plane of generation or creation, then it acts according to the law of principle, for it is moving on a lower plane of being, and consequently it manifests the principle of gender in its masculine and feminine aspects on the mental plane. This idea may seem startling to you who hear it for the first time, but you have all really passively accepted it in your everyday conceptions. You speak of the fatherhood of God and the motherhood of nature, of God, the divine Father, and nature, the universal mother, and have thus instinctively acknowledged the principle of gender in the universe. Is it not so? But the Hermetic teaching does not imply real duality. The all is one. The two aspects are merely aspects of manifestation. The teaching is that the masculine principle manifest by the all stands in a way apart from the actual mental creation of the universe. It projects its will towards the feminine principle, which we may call nature, whereupon the latter begins actual work of evolution of the universe, from simple centers of activity on to man, and then on and on, still higher, all according to well-established and firmly enforced laws of nature. If you prefer the old figures of thought, you may think of the masculine principle as God, the Father, and the feminine principle as nature, the universal mother, from whose womb all things have been born. This is more than a mere poetic figure of speech. It is an idea of an actual process of creation of the universe. But always remember, the all is but one, and that in its infinite mind the universe is created, and exists. I'll just leave that there. It may help you to get the proper idea if you will apply the law of correspondence to yourself and your mind. You know that the part of which you call I, in a sense, stands apart and witnesses creation of mental images of your own mind. The part of their mind in which the mental generation is accomplished may be called the me, in distinction from the I, which stands apart and witnesses and examines the thoughts, ideas, and images of the me. As above, so below, remember, and the phenomena on one plane may be employed to solve the hidden riddles on higher or lower planes. Is it any wonder that you, the child, feel the instinctive reverence for the all, which feeling we call religion, that respect and reverence for the Father mind? Is it any wonder that, when you consider the works and wonders of nature, you are overcome with the mighty feeling with which its roots away down in their innermost being? It is the mother mind that you are pressing up close to, like a babe to the breast. Do not make the mistake of supposing that the little world you see around you, the earth, which is a mere grain of dust in the universe, is the universe itself. There are millions and millions of such worlds, and greater. And there are millions of such universes in existence within the infinite mind of the all. And even in our own little solar system there are regions and planes of life far higher than ours, and beings compared to which we earthbound mortals are as slimy life forms that dwell on the ocean's bed when compared to man. There are beings with powers and attributes higher than man has ever dreamed of the gods possessing, and yet these beings were once as you, and still lower, and you will be even as they, and still higher, in time, for such is the destiny of man as reported by the illumined. And death is not real, even in a relative sense. It is but birth to a new life. And you shall go on and on and on to higher and still higher planes of life, for eons upon eons of time. The universe is your home, and you shall explore its furthest recesses before the end of time. Farthest recesses before the end of time. You are dwelling in the infinite mind of the all, and your possibilities and opportunities are infinite, both in time and space. And at the end of the grand cycle of eons, when the all shall draw back into itself all its creations, you will go gladly, for you will then be able to know the whole truth of being at one with the all. Such is the report of the illumined, those who advance well along the path. And in the meantime, rest calm and serene. You are safe and protected by the infinite power of the Father Mother Mind. Within the Father Mother Mind, mortal children are at home. The Kybalion. There is not one who is fatherless nor motherless in the universe. The Kybalion.